Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I will share with you more information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of a section of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis. I want to thank you before starting to read for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. I'm always very interested in hearing where you're at and if the stuff resonates with you and just how life is going, because there aren't many left at this point of us. And I'm always interested in seeing how the energy is working kind of the same way, or we're all working on the same energy, I should say, since everything is always internal. All right, I'm going to jump in here and start reading. Lorrayne. Clea heard someone say that emotions drain our batteries, which makes sense in terms of the fact that we don't feel these emotions at a higher self level. So these emotions are very human and they keep us in the game. But aren't emotions signposts here, our way of knowing what our higher self is after? Me. Yes, so we said this, we touched upon this. Yes, your emotions will give you a sign for where you are going or what you're needing to look at. Yes. And we also tend here, because of how painful some emotions can be and how scared we are of these emotions. This is why we reject them. This is why we resist them. This is why we push them down so much. Then we idolize people like Buddha, for example, because what did he teach us? He taught us to detach from our emotions. So again, we are so scared. Emotions make us feel good. Some emotions make us feel good in the moment, or even better than we've ever felt. But we are so scared of them because we're scared of losing. We're scared of the loss because we believe here that we lose things. We lose people. And it is very painful for us. We know this. This is the most painful thing we deal with on this planet. This loss and death of our loved ones. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be this way. But we do want it to be this way. That's the whole point. So while we idolize, and try to follow the dictates of people like Buddha saying, detach, we do want, that's the whole point of this game, we do want to feel these emotions. And now we might not like them and always enjoy that we're like on a roller coaster, but this is the point of being here. Now, might some of us enjoy more balance? Yes. And so we have these examples, these role models to go towards that tell us, have more balance and don't be so subject to your emotions. But it's also because we believe that emotions lead us astray and make us make the wrong choices or make the wrong decisions. In reality, if we look at our emotions for what they are, we realize that they're messages. That's all they are. Emotions are messages. They let you know what you're focusing on, how you feel about what you're focusing on. And it's like we're just talking about Pranny with a question he was asking about. Should he listen to his thoughts or should he just be spontaneous? We don't have an answer for him. We're not going to tell him how he should feel. The question is, how does he feel? And however he feels, that's his higher self let him know, hey, follow this path as opposed to that path. Our higher self has to let us know in 3D reality where he's steering us to. So this is what we want to say about emotions. So we understand that it's the hardest thing for us to deal with on this planet. We truly believe these emotions are real because we want to believe that some people are good, some people are bad. So we have all this drama going on, whether positive or negative. And we're not just in our usual serene state or balanced state. That's why balance is so hard to reach here, because we really don't want it. This is boring. This is where we are at all times in the 25th. We're always balanced. There's nothing. There's not even balance because there is no dichotomy. There is no polarity. There is no two of anything. There's only one. So we do want the emotions here. But then the emotions wear us out because some emotions we really don't like. And therefore we're like, oh, we don't want emotions anymore. But we do want emotions. And then we're laughing here because otherwise it's boring here. You're really in the middle here. So we do. And again, we go full circle when we talk about these figures that have been put on these pedestals. We talked about it in history where we say that's the way to be. If you thought that was the way to be, you would be that because you could do exactly what they have done. Why are you not doing that? Because it doesn't interest you. To you, that's boring. which is not to say that they were bored. That's what they were interested in. That was their passion. That's why they wanted that experience. So good for them. We could all be enlightened beings if we wanted to, but do you think we come from the 25th to be enlightened? We're already enlightened. What else are you going to do? Then we're just going to be as bored here as we are on the 25th. Now you might think to yourself, we are bored here, just differently, but we are bored here. But this is also an exception, this planet. Once you move on, wherever you move on to, it might be to New Earth, or in 20,000 years, you're going to move on to the Pleiades or whatever you're going to move on to. You're not going to want to be necessarily like the Buddha or the equivalent of the Buddha. You want to go in, you want to get your hands dirty, you want to get in there and pretend everything is real, at least for 40 years of your life, or maybe 400 years of your life, because maybe they live 1,000 years there. Do you see? It's whatever your higher self is interested in doing. That's what will happen. We always judge. We think, oh, I'm wrong to feel this way. I should feel that way. Look at these people, these role models, how wonderful and perfect they were. Do you truly believe that the Buddha himself, Siddhartha, always felt the same way every day of his life, from morning to night, from when he woke up until he went to sleep? We hear all these stories, how these people were always the same. Do you truly believe that's what we do? We said a million times, we are musical instruments. Can we only play one note? Is it even possible for us to only play one note and enjoy the game? We already said, we mentioned in the last session, we were talking about this. We're talking about somebody else who people believe is enlightened and so peaceful. This is what we see. We don't know if the person actually feels that way. We don't know because we don't feel into things. We just see, we hear stories. Jesus very much was a human being. He was very much like us. He said it a million times. Now, could he do things because he wanted to do certain things? Yes, we can too. We're just not going to do it. We're not interested. And this is true of everybody. The only people who have incarnated here are humans just like us. The only thing that's different is that we've created different realities around us over time. That's all. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay, Victoria Gaidarova would like to know, could you ask the 25th how to intend? Maybe they will give us more clues for how to be more effective in this, so the recall manifests soon. How do we intend our reality? Me. We understand where her question is coming from. She really just wants to know, is there anything we can do to get out of here faster? Which we completely understand where she's coming from. And they were laughing. She's not the only one who feels this way. Clea feels that way, even though she knows that as one of the 12,000, she's one of the ones that said, oh, let's stay longer. So we completely understand where that's coming from. At the same time, to give a precise answer to her question, you're intending all the time. Everything that's happening around you is because you intended it. If you are asking, how do we move on from here? We already have a path laid out. If she's one of the 12,000, we don't want to say whether she is or not because she didn't ask this, and we don't want to assume that she wants to know. If she's one of the 12,000, then she already intended to be here longer because of XYZ reasons we already explained at length. If she's not one of the 12,000, and she could be on the team of the light, could be in the middle, she could even be on the team of the dark. And again, we're not saying she is, we're saying wherever you are on the spectrum, not just her, then if you are still here, there's another reason you intended to be here, which is either one, you're on the team of the light and you're staying because you're going to New Earth. And everybody going to New Earth has decided to go together. So you don't want to go ahead by yourself and be by yourself over there. 2, or you're in the middle and you're finishing up some stuff. 3, or you're on the team of the dark and you're staying here. Really, 1, because you're afraid of moving on. And 2, because really the team of the light needs you right now. We need them to keep certain things going for us, okay? Because we do want things to look a certain way. So whatever that might be, whatever the reason might be, this is your intention in action. This is your intention in reality, what we call reality in this game, really. It's what it is. And so how do we intend? She's doing a fantastic job of intending. And they were laughing. If she wasn't intended to be here, she'd be gone. So she just needs to figure out, if it helps her, to know why she's still here. Can we accelerate this? To answer the other part of our question, can we accelerate the recall? And they're speaking of the recall of this thing. And we won't even say timeline because, again, we don't want people to start thinking this is a timeline for the takedown. We're in overtime here, so we don't know how long you're going to take or when you're going to be ready to move on. when you decide that enough is enough. But for whatever reason, you might have decided to stay longer in the first place. And so can you accelerate things? You can always accelerate things. We already said if you wanted to have the recall right now, you could have it right now. It's not about the time, because time is not real. It's about how long do you want to experience this experience. It's like you saying, today is my birthday, and I'm going to spend the whole day out doing whatever I want, or it's my birthday, but I got work to do, so I'm just going to take a 2-hour lunch because I deserve it. How long do you want this experience to be? Period. That's the only thing that matters, because everything is shaped by your intention. So if your intention is for you or for Victoria to move through the motions faster, what she thinks she has to do, again, it's becoming Neo or whatever it is, whatever the reasons she believes she has to stay here or that she wants to experience. Mostly we're here really to learn that we control this reality. And again, the recall is just what will show in 3D that we do this. It's not the actual goal, it's just a signpost. But basically, if she thinks that this can be accomplished, then she'll be ready in 2 months. She can intend that. Now, here's the thing. She might be ready in 2 months, and then she has a decision to make. Do I move on because I got it? Or do I wait for the 12,000? We're saying in case she's not one of the 12,000, do I wait for the 12,000? Because she's still not going to want to go to New York by herself. Nobody's going to New York by themselves. We're all going at the same time. So you see, there are multiple reasons why some of us have stayed here, but whoever has stayed here has stayed because they intend to stay here. So can we intend acceleration? Yes, we can. Can we intend a recall? We've done it. It's happening. This is all our intention. There's nothing that she needs to know how to do because she doesn't know how to do it. She thinks that at a 3D level, perhaps if we were to tell her, you need to meditate 3 hours a day, you need to do X, Y, Z, and that will accelerate things, is going to make a difference. No, it isn't. It really is a decision. This is how easy it is for the higher self. So she's in the same situation as many of us, as many, including Clea, where we are here, where we decided to stay here, but we're not happy with being here. We discussed this before, and therefore we're like, okay, but we're done. But if we were done, we would be gone, and we're still here. So why are we still here? Because we're not done. The second we know that we are done, we're going to be out of here. And again, it's not that we're trying to dangle the carrot and say it's going to happen in the future, it's going to happen. It's already happened. Most of what was related to the takedown has already happened. People have already left. And we know this at a 3D perspective already. We see how there are no people. A ton of people have left. We already all know this, even though we try to ignore it. It pops up all the time that people have left. The companies cannot find people. People are passing left and right all the time in huge amounts. Not like before, in huge amounts. We hear about all these people passing, and before it was from the famous flu, and then from the thing that was supposed to cure the famous flu, then people falling off cliffs. Is not clear how. Clea's had multiple people pass away just recently. She's never experienced this before. So we know it, we know what's happening. So Victoria doesn't have to intend to move on faster. Victoria's already intended everything that's happening. However, if she wants to intend anything happening quicker, she can, of course. It's about the experience. How quickly do you want to go through it? That's all. We could have said to you that the recall, you had intended for it to happen in 10 months, or you could intend it to happen in 3 months. Really, time it doesn't matter. It's about what we learn, how long it's going to take for you to learn what you want to learn before this happens. And now I just want to specify here, when they say learn, it's not because we have to improve ourselves as essences. So we're learning something that's going to make us better. It's learn as in learn how an experience feels to us. So we want to have this experience and we want to soak it in until we feel satisfied that we've learned what we wanted to learn from it, and then we're ready to move on. Hopefully we'll be ready to move on by then, because who knows at this point. I can't even blame anybody else, because supposedly I'm one of the 12,000, and I'm one of the people that decided to stay behind or came up with this brilliant idea and say, oh, let's stay back. All right, well, thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.